path of death? What of the curse?
Superstitions, Atibo. Tranquilo. be watching us.
Lobitos don't like intruders.
Relax.
It would be crazy to make a fire on Lobito Land.
This was Forrestal's favorite.
Why did they leave these things behind?
I think they were intent on coming back.
Movitos are near. Poison is still fresh, 3 days. They're following us.
If they knew we were here, they would have killed us already.
Don't want to spend the night in the jungle. This is the jungle telling us to turn back.
Go on, senor. Satipo will help you move the tree.
Let's start with the most crucial setting in the game, texture pool size. This setting is especially important if you are using a GPU with 8GB. Significantly impacts performance, even with quality DLSS at 1440p. Low to make. Also, overall performance is shadow quality. Visually, shadows close to the camera look nearly identical. PCs, I found that the game can become CPU, and I found to address this issue is enabling improves overall smoothness usage. And speaking of settings and few console commands, let's start with field of view. In this scene, increasing the FOV slightly improves performance, but not by a significant margin, as you can see here. Next we have depth of field, and this setting seems to be broken at the moment, as depth of field remains enabled regardless of the option selected. And there is a separate setting for depth of field anti-aliasing, and this one works as intended, as you can see here, without significantly impacting performance. So I recommend keeping it enabled. Now, similar to previous 8-check games, in Indiana Jones the console is unlocked by default and can be opened by pressing the tilde key on the keyboard. Once the console is open, typing this line displays a list of all available commands along with descriptions of what each one does. However, we are particularly interested in RLOD scale, which can help address the game's poor level of detail. And as you can see here, setting RLOD scale to values like 3 or 5 significantly reduces LOD pop-in, and at least in this scene it starts with the most crucial setting in the game, texture pool size. This setting is especially important if you are using a GPU with 8GB of VRAM. Here we can see that even with low texture pool size, the game allocates nearly 8GB. And in some scenes like this one, switching to medium texture pool size significantly impacts performance, even with quality DLSS at 1440p. So if you have an 8GB GPU, keep the texture pool size at low to maintain stable performance and avoid VRAM related slowdowns. Another setting that impacts not just VRAM usage but also overall performance is shadow quality. Visually, shadows close to the camera look nearly identical between medium and ultra. However, distant shadows do show slightly more detail on ultra compared to medium and high. In terms of performance, this setting can be demanding in certain areas, like in this scene, where going from low to medium reduces performance by around 8%. To high 11% and to ultra 18%. So for the best balance of performance and VRAM usage, keep this one at medium. Global illumination is another one in the list of settings to keep an eye on, as it impacts both VRAM usage and performance, much like shadow quality. First, let's take a look at the visual impact. Here we can see how this setting primarily affects the accuracy of global illumination and determines how many objects are included in the RTGI process. Higher options improve the quality of ambient shading, making the scene look less glowy and flat and adding more depth and realism to the lighting. But as I said, this improvement comes at a cost of both VRAM and performance, because here in this scene, going from usage, despite the fact that visually significant impact on performance, like here, completely disabled when using low, and caustic effects which are only visible on high and ultra, as you can see here, as well as ripples which are absent on low and medium. And performance wise, much like the previous setting, water quality has a negligible impact. Volumetric quality is another setting that doesn't significantly affect performance. Visually, volumetric effects are more defined and detailed on medium compared to low, but the performance impact is minimal, as you can see here. Texture anisotropic filtering is of course part of this list of less demanding settings, because in this game, as in many others, this setting has a negligible performance impact while its visual impact is significant. And the last setting in this list is vegetation animation quality, which determines how many types of vegetation are animated. And even in dense forest areas, it doesn't seem to impact performance significantly. So for this group of settings, which includes decals, reflections, water, volumetrics, texture filtering, and vegetation animation, I recommend leaving them at their highest quality, as the performance gain from lowering these settings is not worth the noticeable loss in visual fidelity. Path tracing, and let's start with RT Sun Shadows. Here we can see that Ray Trace Sun Shadows significantly improves the quality of the game's shadows, eliminating the flickering and low quality found in standard shadow maps. However, this improvement comes at a significant cost, with around a 50% performance drop and notably higher VRAM usage. Throughout my testing, I found that RT reflections and indirect illumination don't work properly with the game's RTGI and SSR. Take a look at this example here and notice how enabling RT reflections alone negatively affects the visuals, removing many reflections and RTGI bounce lighting. Enabling RT indirect illumination alone does improve the visuals, but many reflections are still missing. Only when both effects are enabled simultaneously do we achieve the intended visual improvement. And as expected, enabling these path trace effects comes at a massive cost in terms of performance and VRAM usage. And finally, here is a comparison between the full RT feature set and the standard shadows, reflections, and GI. So if you want to enable path tracing, I recommend prioritizing RT Sun Shadows. However, keep in mind that you will need a lot of VRAM along with aggressive upscaling and frame generation to achieve playable performance. So let's move on to upscaling and frame generation. In terms of upscaling, the game currently only includes DLSS with no option for FSR or XeSS, which is unfortunate. And the DLSS implementation in this game is not without its issues. In many scenes like this one, DLSS exhibits noticeable visual artifacts, such as flickering black dots, which are noticeable even when using native DLAA. And while both DLSS and DLAA appear sharper than the game's TAA and retain more details, they also introduce a significant amount of shimmering, which is unexpected from DLSS. Moving on to frame generation. In areas with a lot of NPCs, I found that the game can become CPU limited, and when this happens, the frame time graph becomes erratic, as you can see here. The only effective solution I found to address this issue is enabling frame generation, which stabilizes the frame time graph and improves overall smoothness. However, this comes at a cost of increased input lag, which might be noticeable if you are sensitive to usage. I found that using the reference section view. In this scene, increasing the FOV slightly improves performance, but not by a significant margin, as you can see here. Next we have depth of field, and this setting seems to be broken at the moment, as depth of field remains enabled for depth of field. Indiana Jones, the console is unlocked by default and can be opened by pressing the tilde key on the keyboard. Once the console is open, typing this line displays a list of all available commands along with descriptions of what each one does. However, we are particularly interested in RLOD scale, which can help address the game's poor level of detail. And as you can see here, setting RLOD scale to values like 3 or 5 significantly reduces LOD pop-in, and at least in this scene, it doesn't seem to have a noticeable impact on performance. And if you are not a fan of temporal anti-aliasing and prefer a sharper looking image, you can use the command R anti-aliasing and set it to 0, which will completely disable temporal anti-aliasing. Given everything we've discussed so far, here are my recommended settings for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. As I mentioned earlier, there is a small margin between the low and the supreme preset, and these optimized settings will not significantly improve the game's raw performance. Here in this scene, we can see a nice improvement, around 14% when using optimized settings. But in this VRAM hungry game, the key to keep the performance stable and higher is effectively managing VRAM usage. Because if we move to the next scene, we can clearly see how crucial it is to keep the VRAM usage lower for overall performance and stability. And with that, we arrive at the end. Thank you so much for watching and for your time. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future videos.
With Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PC, we are seeing Machine Games making a settings or derive my own settings to get optimized better performance, super shading or compute bound, usually on modern GPUs. Rather, there's a good, say this game is setting is typically set too high. Now, this would probably require testing from you in the audience, but luckily for you in the audience, I have 8GB GPU. You'll want to stick to the lower settings, even at 1080p. With 10GB on an RTX 3080, you'll want to use the high texture setting at 1440p or medium at 4K. For 12GB, you can technically run the game's supreme setting at 1440p, but you will have to drop down to Ultra at 4K. This diagram is very accurate in my testing and should lead to great performance with no major issues, barring 3 very specific caveats. For one, if you look at this chart, you can see how the 12GB GPU there says do not use the supreme texture setting at 1080p. And that's not because it runs out of VRAM. It should technically work fine, but at 1080p I found a bug with this setting where GPUs look like this when running it at 1080p. It's completely broken graphics, so avoid that supreme setting at 1080p as far as I can tell. The second caveat is for 8GB GPUs in general. I do not recommend higher than the medium setting for shadows at any resolution on 8GB GPUs. Now, I would never recommend low as I think it looks awful, but the difference between medium and ultra is somewhat small usually. The resolution of the shadow maps is the same there more or less. Rather, the difference is, as I mentioned earlier, there's more objects added into shadow maps on the higher settings above medium. This can cause potential very slow performance on 8GB GPUs on any resolution when it's above medium, so keep it at medium. The third caveat I have with an 8GB GPU is specific to 1440p diagram, including my caveats for this gameplay here on that gameplay. Textures, shadows. This setting in IdTech gives control over how often textures are streamed into the GPU. On lower settings, these do not stream in as often, right running on Supreme. There's actually no difference for these textures here, and that is what can happen some of the times. But sometimes, like we see in this cutscene just before looking at the idle, the low setting can show a lower quality texture that visibly changes as the cutscene is occurring, swapping in to fit in the cache. Notice how the high setting in the middle, though, looks exactly the same as the Supreme setting here. The low setting can also just end up never loading a high-res texture fast enough, as we see here in a previous cutscene, where this character's face and hands never get the high-quality MIP to load in as the camera zooms in on his face. This does not happen on the higher Supreme setting on the GPUs with more memory here to the right. The one area where high will typically fall below Supreme is on distant textures from the camera. As we can see here, the textures closer to the camera on the far left on the RTX 4060 on low are lower quality than those in the middle and the right on the 3080 and 4070 Super. But if we look in the distance in this same shot, we can see that the 3080 on high has slightly lower res textures than the 4070 Super, which is using the Supreme texture streaming setting. Typically, if there is a difference in texture quality forward, as I'm showing here, and you will see that high and above, I would say performance in this game tweaks and things I would like to see in future patches. As nothing is, I think it's obvious to see the level of detail change. I find the game's level of detail to be too low per default. It is no wonder this game runs so fast on the GPU. If you walk forward in any area, I think it's obvious to see the level of detail changing very close to the camera, leading to geometric pop-in. Just the first area in the jungle has many places where I found this rather obvious. I would like for the devs to introduce an LOD option to tweak this to be much higher for higher end GPUs. If you use the developer console, you can see what this looks like. Using this command here and jacking it up to 5 from the default 1, you can show that there's a lot less pop-in on the right here than there is on the left. There's basically none at all. Setting the setting up so high to 5 does come at a GPU cost and memory cost, but I think it would be a great option for the devs to expose in the menu for future high-end GPUs. The second issue I have is with shadow quality. I find even the Ultra setting on PC way too low res, and it also has paging behavior between the various cascades, which is very obvious on any shadow that is longer. If you walk backwards or forward along a long shadow, it'll reveal this ugly line where it switches from slightly medium res to ultra low res, and I think it looks bad. I would like a Supreme setting if possible for shadow maps to alleviate this issue, though in all likelihood, the full ray tracing option will make shadow maps completely redundant. The third issue I have is with the game's dynamic resolution. It only currently works with TAA and not DLSS. DRS in IdTech in the past, such as in Doom Eternal, worked perfectly fine with DLSS, and I would love for it to work with it here. My fourth issue with the game is that the game only has DLSS and TAA for upscaling. No FSR or XeSS here, and I really think it should have them. My fifth issue is a slight annoyance with the game's checkpoint system. The game doesn't have traversal stutters, but depending upon where you are, a checkpoint save can trigger, and that'll be accompanied by this little hat icon in the corner and a short frame time blip. I wouldn't think it's that bad usually, but in areas like the Vatican, there are so many little checkpoint markers all across that area that when you physically trigger them, they'll lead to a number of frame time spikes. Honestly, I wish the game had an option to turn off some of the smaller checkpoints as found throughout the larger maps, as it would get rid of any checkpoint saving blips on the frame time graph. Lastly, the animation issue in cutscenes that John mentioned in his video also affect the PC version. You have the animations in cutscenes semi-periodically only updating at what looks like 30 FPS. So it makes a number of scenes look very unsmooth, and this happens in the exact same place every single time you run the cutscene, so something isn't right there. The other thing you have is that camera cuts can be accompanied by frame time spikes of up to 100 milliseconds, so the game pauses on the last frame between a camera cut, sometimes for multiple refreshes, generally making the cutscenes look a lot less smoother than they ought to look. It would be really great to have both of these issues fixed in future patching. But in the meantime, between now and then, that is really all for this optimized settings video, and I will be covering the game's full ray tracing implementation, going over how it looks and runs in the near future, presumably at the end of the next week. Until then, like, subscribe, ring the bell, support on Patreon, follow on Blue Sky, and as always, this is Alex, bidding you farewell und auf Wiedersehen. Thanks for played through it. Performance wins, and I would say they are not worth it. Arguably, you should keep everything to the highest in this game, as it is not super shading. Now, usually at this point in the video, I would use the console settings or derive my own settings to get optimized better performance for low to mid-range GPUs. But based upon what I've seen in this game, after having played through it multiple hours on GPUs of various calibers, I can easily say that this game is very light from a rendering, shading, and even CPU perspective, and modern GPUs should be fine even with the game's RTGI maxed out. Typical optimized settings suggestions are just not needed here. You could turn down things like RTGI quality or reflection quality and only get minor performance wins, and I would say they are not worth it. Arguably, you should keep everything to the highest in this game, as it is not super shading or compute bound usually on modern GPUs. Rather, you should only adjust those things that are memory bound, things that affect VRAM. And the most important setting for optimizing there is the streaming cache size option for textures. Context is once again very important, and going back to the recommended spec sheet, there's a good context clue here.
Jones, the console is unlocked by default on the keyboard. Once the console is open, typing this line displays a list of all available commands along with descriptions of what each one does. However, we are particularly interested in RLOD scale, which can help address the game's poor level of detail. And as you can see here, setting RLOD scale to values like 3 or 5 significantly reduces LOD pop-in. And at least in this scene, it doesn't seem to have a noticeable impact on performance. And if you are not a fan of temporal anti-aliasing and prefer a sharper looking image, you can use the command R anti-aliasing and set it to 0, which will completely disable temporal anti-aliasing. One does. However, we are particularly interested in scale, which can help address the game's poor level of detail. And as you can see here, and at least in this scene, it doesn't seem to have a noticeable impact on performance. Small margin.
The curse.
Superstition, Satibo. Tranquilo.
The Jovitos could be watching us.
Bobitos don't like intruders.
Relax.
Why did they leave these things behind?
I think they were intent on coming back.
The Jovitos are near. Poison is still fresh, 3 days. They're following us.
If they knew we were here, they would have killed us already.
The temple is up there, senor. Heard the cañero, senor?
Oh, I'm soaked. Remnant of a warrior outpost. The temple must be nearby. Either a vase or a pitcher. Clearly Chachapoyan. There was a battle here.
This is it. This is where Forrestal cashed in.
A friend of yours.
A competitor. He was good. He was very, very good.
Senor, nobody has come out of there alive. Please.
You first, senor. Be careful. Senor. Get these things off me.
Stop. Stay out of the light.
Forrestal.
You said he was very good.
He was. Just not good enough.
Are you?
I guess we'll find out.
Don't worry. Crazy, senor.
Let us hurry. There is nothing to fear here.
That's what scares me. That did it. That's it. That's how it's done.
Give me the whip. Throw me the idol. No time. Give me the whip.
Adios, señor.
Adios, Vito. Americas. It's all in America.
The man I knew 10 years ago. I learned to hate you in the last 10 years. Well, where the hell were you? Damn it, don't you leave me down here by myself!
Marcus.
What's that exit? What is that? It's like a labyrinth.
Lightweight. What the devil? Everywhere. Damn kids. Someone's getting expelled tonight. Those are big footprints.
Gotta be some vagrant.
Pal. You can't sleep here.
Who the hell are you?
You asked for it. Whatever you're up to, pal. Let go!
Is that the best you got? Non comandante.
Indiana? I'd wondered where you'd got to. What happened?
Where did he go?
Who?
The giant.
I didn't see any giant.
I caught someone breaking into the museum. He was tall. He took something.
Well, did you see his face?
Scarred. Dark skin. He spoke some form of Latin.
Latin? Well, that is a novelty.
Come on, Marcus. We need to find out what he took.
Yes, righto. This display case has been ransacked. Is there anything missing?
Let's have a look. Ancient Egyptian, obviously. A depiction of Bastet.
We should look around for the exhibits that were in this display.
Terracotta. Likely Babylonian out of Iraq. Ah, look at this. Ugaritic letters.
Ugarit? They must be from Ras Shamra in Syria.
No, this isn't right.
No, I think that's for something else, Indiana.
No. We should try something else.
I wonder what.
Duck went here? Right, Marcus?
Quite right.
Well, the Bastet statue goes in the Egyptian section.
Looks right, Indian. So, that's where the relief belonged.
A funerary mask, Brody.
Is that solid gold? Ah, well done, Indiana. So, is everything back?
Not quite.
Well, what's missing? SW 003. What was that?
Siwa expedition. He took the cat mummy, Marcus. But why?
The thief may have left a clue to their identity.
Yeah. Let's keep looking.
Look at this mess. The exhibits are all over the floor. I saw that smashed window down the corridor from your office. Perhaps that is where he got out. I feel sorry for whoever has to clean up this mess before Monday.
You remember that time the doctoral students snuck pigs into Dawson's office?
Ah, yes. I suppose it could be worse. Let's investigate the broken window near your office. Perhaps our thief left a clue. You do look worse for wear, Indiana.
Must be something here to patch me up.
I'm sure the nurse won't mind you helping yourself. Oh, I have a splitting headache after burning the midnight oil last night.
I told you, you didn't have to stay.
Nonsense. I wouldn't abandon a friend in need.
Marcus, help me out here.
Coming, Indiana.
I don't know what to do without you.
Oh, don't mention it.
Huh.
A pendant, is it?
Must have got caught when he left through the window.
Let's retire to your office and figure this out.
Good idea. Somebody sure went to a lot of trouble to steal a cat mummy.
It was a beautiful piece. You found it in Siwa, didn't you?
Yeah, 6 weeks ago. Something about that dig.
That looks Catholic to you, doesn't it?
It's the sigil of the Vatican Secret Archive, if I'm not mistaken.
This isn't just about a cat mummy, Marcus.
What are you going to do, Indiana?
I'll need my classes covered, of course.
Indiana,
Dawson seems the likely choice. Maybe Kittredge?
oh, look. Someone's left you a gift. How long has that been in there?
I haven't opened this suitcase for a year. Not since Cairo.
You aren't going to open it? It's a beautiful journal, isn't it? Who's it from?
Doesn't say.
Oh. What are you packing? And just where are you planning on going?
Only the essentials.
I see. You know,
Let me see.
you
here.
can talk to me, Indiana, about Marion.
There's nothing to say, Marcus. This will be a nice gift.
She rang me. Did I tell you that? 2 months back, when you'd left for Siwa. She was at her wit's end with you. I didn't know what to say.
It wouldn't have made a difference. She had her mind made up. A reminder of Peru. As if I could forget.
Well, setting out on another foolhardy escapade is not going to make matters better.
I'm not so sure about that.
Though I must admit I am intrigued. Why would the Vatican want your cat mummy?
Exactly. And there's only one way to find out.
Come now, Indiana, you can't travel to Italy. The college would never sanction leave for this. Not in the middle of midterms. I mean...
Marcus, what's done is done. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to the Siwa expedition, but it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And when you got back, she wasn't there.
I gotta go.
Can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me. On next plane to Rome. Stop. Need help. Stop. Meet me in Vatican. Stop. Indy.
My friend, stop. Vatican not safe. Stop. We'll wait for you at village steps. Stop. Subtlety is a virtue. Stop. Antonio.
Okay. Village steps. Should be on the other side of this fortress.
Accidenti, pesante. E tu chi sei? Che cosa ci fai qui?
I'm just a tourist, pal.
Hai solo fortuna. Niente male.
And that's Professor to you. All right, fella. Where should I head you? Heavier than you look.
Se la gente non vuole farsi male, che si levi di mezzo.
Stava per venirmi un infarto.
Chiaro, di ragnarti e comincia a caricare. Ai soldati di stanza in Vaticano servono scorte.
Here we go.
Non capisco che cosa vuole Mussolini dal Vaticano. Pare stia cercando qualcosa che la Chiesa ha nascosto. E il Papa ora è disposto a farci entrare? Come mai ha cambiato idea? Non hai sentito? Il Papa è molto malato, confinato a letto nella sua villa.
Give it a rest!
Ora è... Su, laggiù! Alt! Cos'è stato? Ehi, ti ho preso! Non lasciatelo su! Che cosa?
The Popolo d'Italia. Mussolini's propaganda mouthpiece. Let me see here. This will come in handy. Which locks do you open? Letter from a Vatican priest. Don't turn around. The company.
Uomo a terra! Fate qualcosa!
Lasci
Madonna!
This ought to be quick. This sounds interesting. From the Vatican Pharmacy. Fascists shouldn't be trusted with money. Now, what do the black shirts want with the Vatican? There we go.
Non puoi stare qui! No, ci divertiremo!
Hey, lightweight! Sure you should be doing this?
Fair and square. Getting closer. Nice view.
Cos'è questa roba?
Merce confiscata dal Vaticano.
Ma il Vaticano è un luogo sacro.
È tutto a posto, non preoccuparti.
Time to shine. Hold your horses!
Molto strano.
Move it along!
Fermo! Non mi piace quel suono.
Now rest, would you? This guy looks like a wet noodle.
Yes, even fascists need a little light distraction.
L'ha abbattuto! L'ha colpito!
Alto là!
Take it easy!
Ehi! Non puoi stare qui! Dove sei? Dritto! Non mai! Non resisto! Sei un uomo morto! Levagli! Provato, schifosa canaglia!
Watch and learn!
Back to sleep, pal. Interesting. Interesting note. Two bolts facing each other. This map has peculiar markings.
marked with the crest of the House of Borgia.
Semplicemente stupendo. Ma che diavolo? Lasciamo stare.
Sweet dreams.
C'è qualcosa che non torna. Ma cosa? Ma perché sempre a me questi incarichi? Che strano. Fa niente. Che diavolo?
Cos'era?
Interesting. There it is. The village steps.
Che succede? Meglio andare a vedere.
Here we go.
Indy, is that you?
Antonio.
We have to make haste. I just saw Father Ventura with a black shirt on his way to the castello.
Father Ventura?
What's that?
I said, who is Father Ventura?
We call him the Man in Black, a friend of Mussolini. Practically runs the Vatican now that the Pope has taken ill. Shh, that's him.
A Benito serve altro per renderlo a proprio agio?
Il duce non sarà mai a proprio agio dentro il Vaticano.
Capisco. Quando arriveranno i suoi ospiti?
Domani, se il vento è favorevole.
I can't hear them anymore.
I think they're gone.
Father Ventura opened the gates to the Vatican. Now the fascista are everywhere. Shameless.
Who's the guest they're waiting for?
I have no idea. Almost there. We made it, Henri!
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
How many years has it been? 19?
Since the infirmary by the Piave.
Those were dark times. Unbearable without a good friend at my side. Follow me.
Hey, Antonio.
For me?
No, that's the latest humdinger out of New York City.
Grazie, amigo mio. I think you will need some rest. Buongiorno. This American music is astounding. How do they play like that?
Hey, catch ci fate voi qui? Ventura ha detto di fare pratica per il comitato di benvenuto. E da quando?
What's going on outside?
Ma da come fare?
They seem to be particularly on edge this morning. I have cornetti if you want something to eat.
So what brings you to the Vatican, Indy?
I'm looking for someone. A tall fellow.
Tall fellow. Well, there is Giovanni, the chef. He is quite tall, and his risotto ai funghi is...
Very tall. Like a giant. He stole something from me, and I mean to find out why.
What did he steal?
Well, a cat mummy. Very unusual for where it was found. And the thief left behind his Vatican calling card.
Vatican robber in Connecticut. That seems a bit far-fetched, don't you think? Can I see this calling card?
What do you make of this?
It looks like the sigil of the Vatican Secret Archive, but there's something different about it. Are you sure you want to investigate this, Indy?
Look, things don't add up and it's driving me crazy. There's more to that cat mummy, and I'm not letting that giant off the hook.
Well, the only giants I heard about is from back in the 16th century. And a certain Father Crescenzo claimed to have seen secret messages inscribed in the oldest buildings of the Vatican. He said they referenced a group of giants he called the fallen angels, hidden in the holy city. But bear in mind that Father Crescenzo was known mainly for one thing.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Stark-raving, brain-sick madness. Well, let's get you dressed like you belong here.
Now I remember. This symbol you showed me, I have seen it once before, in the library. Yes, in the conservation workshop. Most likely nothing, but you did say you wanted to investigate this.
It's a lead worth following.
You can put these on. I hope they fit.
Perfetto, Indy. You should have become a man of the cloth.
I found another calling.
We have to be careful. Il Duce has eyes and ears everywhere, even in the Holy City.
Vi siete fatto un amico, padre?
Well, Padre Ventura, this is,
Father Gallagher from St. Joseph's, Boston.
Ah. In America. You're here to help. Antonio, he's going deaf, he says. An old war wound, I'm told.
Oh, I'm just here to serve God. Aren't we all?
Ne assumete la responsabilità. Credo che il Santo Padre sarebbe in quanto contrariato se introducessimo individui discutibili nella sua città.
Naturalmente, Padre Ventura.
He's a jolly fellow.
Yes. Good luck, Indy. If you need me, I will be here, in my office.
Take a look in the library. See if I can't find that symbol.
All right, Indy. I'll see you later.
Dio santo, che male! Non sapevo che fosse acceso. Devo fare più attenzione.
Let's see if this works.
Madre di Dio, what have you found, Indy?
Secret entrance.
In my library? Where do you think it leads?
Only one way to find out. Can't see. Who turned out the lights? Too dark in here. Can't see. Need some light.
There is a candle on the table you can use to light your way. Good thinking, Indy. Let's go inside.
All right, follow me.
Watch your step, Indy. I've been asking to have the library renovated for a very long time.
I'll be careful.
This is very exciting, Indy. My hands are shaking. I wonder who built this place and what it was for.
Whatever its purpose was, it's been abandoned for centuries.
There is a gate here. I wonder how we open it. Where are you going, Indy?
To see if there's another way past this gate.
Of course, I will stay here then, alone. There you are.
Let me get that gate open for you.
It's very dark. I think we need some light. It almost looks like a kind of alchemist's laboratory.
Ancient. Much older than anything here. Where's it from?
Poor individuo. L'eterno riposo donna loro, o Signore, splenda ad essi la luce per loro. Riposano in pace. Amen.
Father Crescenzo, perhaps. His writing certainly is eccentric.
What's that on the table?
Let me see here. You know, this might be a map of those inscriptions you talked about.
I fear this will lead you nowhere, Indy, but if you can bring me some photographic evidence of these inscriptions, we can study them together in my office without raising suspicion.
Let's say I bring you some evidence. You got a camera I can use?
No, but speak to Ernesto, the old janitor in the Vatican post office. I hear he has some special deals from the lost and found section. Here is a very special key. It will give you access to places in the Vatican only priests are allowed. Do not lose it, Indy.
I'll keep it safe.
I have to organize a proper burial for this unfortunate soul. If you need anything, you will find me in my office. What an exciting discovery, my friend. Even though I have doubts, I hope it will be of use to you.
I'm sure it will, one way or another. Let's see here. Briscola, huh? Never tried it. A lot of secrets in the Vatican. Must be some connection to the cat mummy. Should see about that camera, too.
Buongiorno, padre.
What do we have here? Wait a minute. Wasn't there an excavation led by some British professor? Could be a lead.
Ehi, voi due! Sì, scusi.
Dare ordini in tutti i posti, ti sarai abituato. Mi scordo.
That's how it's done. I could learn something from this one.
Amo questo tempo. Buona giornata. Stupida automobile. Tra tutti i giorni dovevi romperti proprio oggi.
Gridare al
L'auto non serve a niente. E allora che cosa suggerisci di fare? Non ho gli attrezzi giusti. C'hai quelli davanti, poi gli attrezzi. Assumiti qualche responsabilità. Responsabilità? E perciò? Sei solo colpa tua. Assolutamente. Io non sbaglio mai. Come va?
Vorrei capire chi è quel prete.
Damn it. He's on to me.
C'è un intruso! L'hai voluto tu!
Ehi, sei morto! Vuoi farcela?
Oddio, aiutami! Ci aiuti! Ehi, coniglio! Ecco dov'eri! Dio, aiutami! Padre nostro che sei nei cieli.
There must be another way.
Chi vi ha autorizzato a utilizzare l'articolo 4 dei patti lateranensi afferma chiaramente che alle autorità italiane è vietato interferire con la
These will go to someone
sovranità
who
e
can
la
use them.
giurisdizione della Santa Sede.
Siete informati?
Grazie. Adesso rispondi alla domanda.
Chi ha autorizzati padre Ventura?
Ma l'unica autorità del Vaticano è il Papa.
Non più.
Odio questi fascisti.
Non potete transennare metà Vaticano. È la nostra città. C'è stato un incidente in strada. Dovete aspettare che sia tutto a posto. Altrimenti, se i civili entrano in un'area riservata, saranno allontanati con la forza. Io non sono un civile. Sono un prete. Se i preti entrano in un'area riservata, saranno allontanati con la forza. È una vergogna. Vedrete quando lo dirò al Papa.
Devo andare subito all'ufficio postale. È un'emergenza ecumenica.
Nessuno può entrare, non importa il motivo. Ma proprio qui dovete stare. Andate a farvi una preghiera.
Non me ne vado finché non mi fate entrare.
Allora aspetterete un bel po'.
What are you doing up here, kitty? That went easier than expected. Antonio was right. This sounds good.
Vabbè, ma il secondo peggior fratello sei tu. Comunque la ragione per cui il capitano ci tiene qui e non in Spagna a combattere, perché hai sparato al suo gatto.
What's this? I'm not the only one interested in Crescenzo.
Ogni italiano che si rispetti sa distinguere un bicchiere di vino da un
Preso qualcosa?
Okay.
Posso aiutarvi, signor?
Voi due, forza, al lavoro!
Signor sì, capitano.
Arriviamo, capitano.
Finalmente. Era più di mezz'ora che discutevano. Da non crederci?
Some people just love the sound of their own voice.
Ah, an American. Yes, the fascists are... what is the word? I should not say. You have lost something, yes? Perhaps it is here in my collection?
Yeah, I need a camera. Antonio tells me you have some special deals.
Antonio sent you?
He's a friend.
Antonio is a lousy bum who cheats at cards. Goodbye.
Now just hang on. Let's work something out, huh?
I only have one camera, and it is very, very special. Quite small. Maybe this big. And you can take photos in color. Oh, so beautiful. You would need... well, it's very expensive. More than you could afford.
Look, I need to take some pictures, and there's no other camera in this place. So what do you say?
Well... this is the price you pay. I assure you, it is more than fair.
It's really that good, huh?
The camera is yours, signore. And tell Antonio that I still think he is a lousy cheat.
Thanks, Ernesto.
It's that easy. Okay, signore. Go out and enjoy your camera.
I'm good for now. All right, let's take a look.
Ah, that looks very interesting, does it not?
I'll have this.
Grazie, signore.
Ehi là, padre.
Greetings, Father.
Salve.
The Lord be with you, sister.
Bentornato. I have found some more things which may interest you.
Not right now.